Okay, we are live now. Very good. We can start checking. I can start checking the streaming if it's going correctly,
Yeah,
and we welcome everyone present in the live today with the Khalizad Network is Morteza Ahmadi. Right, pronounce your surname, Morteza.
it's Morteza Ahmadi.
Ahmadi. Okay, very well. And um, you are Unreal Engine VR specialist. Talk a moment about you, Morteza.
Yeah, it's my job is I'm being an Unreal Engine developer mostly because Unreal Engine is an engine. It's a game development, so most of the jobs that I do and I've done in my whole life was mostly about game development.
Mm-hmm.
So it's because all the game development is related so much to creating visual worlds, and it could be related to architecture at some point as well. So I've had some experiences in architectural design and mostly in creating visual worlds and visual interactive worlds, I would say. So yeah, this is what I do.
Okay, very cool. And you are guest for 3 episodes with us of Calypso Network to go through um, our skyscraper, which is the object of this classes that we give for free. So Calypso Network is sponsoring this. And we want to have a crash course on Unreal Engine, being able then to have a class that will follow detailed parts. So I will be your student number one here. I'm not I'm not used into VR and VR modeling, and Morteza will teach me, and we will follow then the development of the skyscraper together with Calypso, then the beam part, and also the visualization done in visual programming. Sorry, visual programming will help us to model, not to visualize, and visualization only in Unreal Engine. So at the end of this series, we will continue and make it possible to reach a very good representation of the skyscraper and share the model of the skyscraper part of it with the one who will follow this journey. Yes, so three steps in this crash course. And let's talk about of this first day. What shall we see in it?
Okay, so right now we will have as you told us, we will have 3 days of learning a lot of things in Unreal Engine 4, which is mostly based on our target is to create a virtual world specifically for architecture. So we will
Mhm.
not be having any kind of game development or any kind of weird, complicated stuff. We will have just by a little. So it's not going to be that hard, but we will have. Let me show you. So in day one, we will be having how to install all the prerequisites, all the
Mhm.
applications that are needed to download the engine itself, which is completely free, even for commercial use. So how to set up the project, how to, we will be explaining all the setup options, all the viewport options, how you can interact with the editor inside the Unreal Engine, And there are a lot of buttons, there are a lot of tabs, a lot of windows inside the engine. We will be explaining all of those. And after that, we'll be using this plugin called Datasmith.
Yes.
Because yeah, Datasmith is for importing the asset from. It's specifically designed for architecture.
Yeah.
We will not be using Datasmith in any game development project, not at all. As long as I've seen it, no one uses it.
Mhm.
It's being used only in architecture. Uh, uh, so we'll be using Datasmith, which is a plugin to export the model from Revit or any actually Autodesk
Yes.
programs and export them to and import them into the engine. Uh, there will be some links for the viewers to follow if they want more in-depth tutorial or more in-depth explanations, because
Cool.
there are just a lot of information about this, so we can't cover them all. We will have a lot of links for the viewers to follow if they want to.
Okay.
Uh,
That's yeah. Please continue.
okay, after that, we're going to continue with a lot of mesh settings, a lot of, a little bit more complicated stuff.
Hmm.
But I'll promise you it won't be that complicated. I mean, I hope not. Some material stuff, some lighting settings, and using the bridge, Quixel bridge, and using the Unreal Engine Marketplace. This will be our day one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There's quite a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
Quite a lot of stuff in it. We can introduce the video that is the let's say the splash screen of our um, skyscraper modeling. I will now bring up the quality on my bigger screen. Can appear a bit lower now here, the quality. Okay, yeah, so this is enough. I will show the stream. Okay, yeah, so that's Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, and this is the modeling of the skyscraper. This visualization is done with a Autodesk package. There is an inside renderer within one of the packages, one of the softwares for infrastructure, based for infrastructure, but it's not done for rendering. So what we expect at the end of these 3 days and a bit farther, we will be able then to study how to have a more effective outer render, but especially inner render, because this software InfraWorks from Autodesk has some tools of graphic. This is the iconic Christ of Rio de Janeiro, but it's not meant to do specifically so. We want to really to take the maximum this of ArcViz and having this best at its best. You can see I can stop here in the video. You can understand that there is a very complex, oh, this is a bit of ads. There is a very complex system of pillars, and these rotate from the bases. They warp and rotate up, and we did with a visual programming dynamo. So this is something that we will assess together after there are already a couple of videos on the two first step, 3 videos actually. and we will bring it to the very end. The thing that we will do is we will analyze four levels, the four base levels, together with Morteza, and we will understand even how to put green foliage and grass, other kind of green decoration or green landscaping on all the floors. So landscaping will be central for that, and Morteza, you will be essential to share how to do this process, not in BIM but directly in the rendering in the VR engine, which is much sharper on that, right?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it depends on the in what you see, because if you want to render the whole city, the whole Rio de Janeiro, it will be like, it will be for the future, not for the systems, for the machines that we are using today. We will fake it a little. I mean, to the point that we can. The Our best chance would be to use an HDRI image, but
Yes,
yeah, we could create a landscape and foliage on it as well. But it will, I mean, it will get really complicated. It will go into optimization, into the most of the optimization that's being done for the game development is mostly because we will be having a lot of foliages, and we have to optimize that because foliages share a lot of polygons, a lot of transparent materials, which are
exactly.
yeah, which are really performant, and they do need a really strong machine to run it all. So we will
Mhm.
avoid them as much as possible, but we will be learning how to use foliages and landscape as well. Yeah.
And about these services that you can find online, services which hire computer or servers, better servers online with a very strong settings. So we are talking about of a machine with hundreds of gigabytes of RAM and the latest graphic cards. Do you have experience in that using Unreal Engine as uh, programmer for Unreal Engine?
So are you talking about something like cloud
Cloud
processing?
rendering, cloud processing, exactly. Yes.
So as much as I know, they're using Tesla T4, which is an equivalent for 2080 Ti, which is a very powerful graphics card, because most of the things that we see on the screen while we are using a real-time render are based on they're mostly, I mean, yeah, it's like a combination of using CPU and GPU at the same time. RAM is not that being used in this situation. It's mostly GPU
Mhm.
and CPUs transferring all the data and giving them to the GPU, and GPUs just processing it all. So, for example, if we are having this city in front of us, 2080 Ti will render it easily with these settings. But it's really it's so much dependent to what settings we're going to use, what effects, what I mean techniques we are going to use, which
Yeah.
it will go really in depth, and we will explain it, not all to some degrees in our next future sessions for sure.
Okay. Okay. Very good. I think that you can propose your screen sharing so we can jump into it.
Okay, all right. So let's start it. Okay, so I'm
Oh,
sharing my
okay.
screen, but yeah.
Yeah.
So the first link that we're going to follow, the first thing actually that we are going to do is to download the engine itself. And this is actually it's such a cool trailer that they're just showcasing Unreal Engine 5, which will be, I mean, they're giving us this date of early 2022, but I don't know when it will be published, but it looks really good. So there's an option here to download the whole engine. Um, you can just go out and use this one. It really doesn't matter. And you have to log in
Yeah.
with your Epic Games or anything, any other account that you have. But I'd suggest you to go create an Epic Games account, which
Mm-hmm.
is really useful for a lot of other applications that we're going to use. So I'm just gonna use my own account. Okay. And it will directly download the Epic Games installer. So after that, after this is done, you'll
Yeah.
install the Epic Games install. I've already installed it, so I'm not gonna do that again.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna launch the Epic Games launcher. This is the application that you're gonna
Yeah.
use the whole time. So okay. So this is the application. First of all, I guess it will try to download Fortnite and some other games or some other free
Yeah.
stuff. I don't know. You can just cancel them all. And if you want to play, you're free to play. I just canceled them. So you can go to actually there's a tab for Unreal Engine. At first, it's not in this tab. You can go to Unreal Engine and then in the library, you can add some engine versions here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
these two versions are, I would say, really stable. You can go ahead and explore with Unreal Engine 5 early access as well, but
Mm-hmm. Still in beta, I understood. Correct.
exactly, and it will need like a heavy, powerful machine too.
Okay.
So yeah.
One curiosity, Morteza. This in computation power, is there any difference while you bake and while you uh, how to say experience the game in power processing? Like I'm developing as you are a developer, and you are developing something very complex, but then how is the computer requirements for something that for you was at the edge of your machine? Is that um, smoother than when you play it, or how it is actually? It is one to one.
No, when you are running the engine and you are running the application that you are creating for yourself, it will be definitely heavier to run on the engine rather than when you export the whole thing and play the application like a regular Excel file. That will be much smoother. I guess it
Okay.
will be like 1 to 1.34, something like that. Yeah, it's definitely heavier. You can feel it for sure.
Okay, so
Uh,
40%, really roughly, just to have an idea, 40% heavier when you bake, when you construct, when you build the the game.
exactly, and it is dependent to what settings that you will be using while you wanna. We call it package. Package is just
Yes.
like exporting. When you wanna package the whole project, so it will be related to settings as well. But at the best case scenario, it's 40% heavier for sure.
Okay. Okay. Let's go forward further. I will send now in a message that I will share also the link. the link for the video of the project. Let's go. Let's continue.
Okay. So what I did, I suggest you to go with either one of these versions. I chose to go with 4.27.
Okay.
Um,
And there is the point two. Didn't know that. The point two is
it's like a
the
hotfix.
latest.
Yeah,
Okay.
they just fix it when they release a new version. There's definitely some hot fixes behind it.
Okay.
So when you for the first time, you won't have this for sure. So you will have some options here, as you can see. uh,
Yeah.
i tr- I won't, I mean, I'm a game developer most of the time, so this is what I would choose and go with.
Game.
uh,
Okay. 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 So okay. So in my first time, I've tried test just really open test to open. I use architecture, engineering, construction. Wouldn't do so. You wouldn't
uh,
use
it,
this I'd say template.
it's just as you said, it's the template. It wouldn't change anything. I mean, in the engine, the engine is completely the same. It's like
Mhm.
there are some things ready for you, uh, where you can put them out in there for yourself as well. I mean, it's not like if you chose to go with games, you will lose some things. No, it's not like that. So it's just a
Mm.
preference, whatever you want. I tried to go, I mean, I tested it to go with architecture and it wasn't any different. So we can go on with architecture since we are um, we are creating a world for architecture purposes. So in here we have lots of, I mean, these are all just templates. As you can see, there are some
Yeah.
different templates. This is the AR, augmented reality, so we won't be using it. So I guess collab viewer is kind of cool. So let's go with it. I mean, what about this one? So let's go with ArcViz. And after that, this is just a location of your project. So set the location you want to go with and set a name for it. I'm just going to let me see, how should we call it, console. Okay. uh, Here's a catch here: project names may not
Mhm.
contain a space. So this is something that you'll probably see a lot in Unreal Engine. There are some limitations to naming stuff in Unreal Engine, which is a bummer, I know, but you'll get used to it. So what we can do is like just use an underscore, that's all, instead of space. So create project and let's wait for it. uh,
Okay.
so it is loading, but it's, you can't see it, it's since it's here.
Oh
Oh.
yes.
Yeah, I accidentally closed it, I'm sorry. So let's open it again. Okay, so here's our first screen. So what we have here is that
Mhm.
we have, I mean, let's first talk about all the settings in here. All the, I mean, we've talked about let me see. We've talked about how to set up the project. So now it's when it comes to explaining how the editor works, how you can use all the buttons that are here that are ready for use. So first of all, these are just windows. You can just move them around however you like. It really doesn't matter. Just go on with your own preference. Uh, this is the main editor. This is the main screen that we use. It's like it's like have the options to go with the perspective view or any other view that you want to see. Um,
Hmm.
you have the options. This is just for the cameras. You have the options to how you want to see it. It's unlit means we don't want the lighting to affect the scene. Lit is we want everything with lighting and reflections, refractions, anything actually, any effect
Hmm.
that's causing the lit to be lit. Brush wireframe is just a wireframe visualization, which is really handy. I mean, I'll explain it in the future sessions. It will get a little bit complicated, but it's worth to know. It's definitely worth to know.
Okay.
So there are a lot of things that will get complicated, really, and these are mostly related to the optimization side of the project. And since we are, I mean, and again, I'm telling you this that this is not a game development project, so we will not be considering to make our game, to make our visual world optimized that much, because it's not a game. It's uh, not intended to run on every machine. It's intended to run on powerful machines, right? To It's intended to look good, to have the highest quality
Mm,
possible.
exactly, exactly. And let's talk of the very general areas of the software. How would you divide? I mean, modeling, lighting, baking. Which are the main menus, so to say, the things that we need to know, and so that we can even jump other sub menus, so other areas.
Okay, there is a possibility to model everything you want inside Unreal Engine, but uh,
Also, okay, okay.
yeah, honestly, it's been years for me to not been using it, because it's, I mean, you will face a lot of problems while you model something inside the Unreal Engine, because when you want to use light maps, lighting, to bake the lighting to the light maps, I don't know if if you ever have that inside Revit, because inside Unreal Engine, if you want to
Yeah.
bake the lighting, if you want to have static lighting, you will need to have a second light map. It's like a texture. It's a empty
Mhm.
slot for textures to have all the light map baked into it. So when the first problem that I faced, and it's really a headache, it's I'm telling you, it's like a complete headache, is that when you model something inside Unreal Engine, it doesn't have a light map. So
Mm.
yeah,
Okay,
and it will be like a headache. So I'm not gonna at all explain that part of the Unreal Engine.
okay.
So yeah, there's a uh, I was so these are all mostly about the optimization sides and some really more complicated stuff. Let's talk about controls. So first of all, when my mouse is in here in this screen, I can move around and I can do stuff. When my mouse is not there, I can't move around in the environment. So how can I move around?
Hmm.
I just have to hold right click, and then I can look around with using my mouse.
Nice.
And
Okay.
when I just not hold it anymore, when I stop holding it, I can't move around, because I can do some other stuff. So uh, the control is a little bit different than 3D softwares. When you want to move around inside Unreal Engine, what you will be
Yeah.
doing is hold right click and use WASD, like it's a game. I mean, it's a game engine, right? So everything's intended to be like a game. So
Okay.
yeah, with holding W, you will go forward. With holding S, you will go backward. With holding A, you will go left. And holding D, you will go right. And you have the option to go up with holding E, and you will have the option to go down with holding Q while holding right click. And when you, for example, consider it this way: when you are holding right click and you are going forward, and then you stop holding right click, you won't go further anymore. So this is
Hmm.
how the camera control works in here. If you want to, for example, this is
Let me understand one thing, Morteza. Is it kind of that the keyboard is the feet and the mouse right click is the head, or is not that intended? It's not a good simplification of this.
if you want to go around inside the map, you have to hold right click. It's as
You
simple
need
as
to
that.
hold the right click.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
anything you want to do. You can, of course, you can change the stuff inside. There's a menu in here inside. Yeah, inside
The
edit.
shortcuts.
Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff it here in here. It can get really
Let's skip
complex.
for now. Let's skip for
Yeah,
now. Let's skip for now.
okay. So it's just there's an option in editor preferences for future preferences if someone wants to do that.
Mm.
Um, okay, you have some things here. You have all the meshes that you have in your scene, and you can see them actually. You can click on them, and for example, you are so far to it, and you don't feel to go all the way to there. So the key to focus on it to go near it is F. When you hit F, it will just simply
Jump
go,
forward.
yeah, jump as near as close as possible. Yeah, it's F.
Mm.
So yeah, it
Okay.
go.
And it frames the object, so it will go as near as to have the whole object
Yeah, it
uh,
focuses on it. Yeah, exactly.
focus in the entire screen. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, and it can help a lot when you have a lot of options. This is the world outliner. It's like the details panel where it shows you what you have, and you can even search what you wanna. I mean, let's see what we. Uh, apparently, we don't have anything called wall. So sun. Yeah, we have a sun sky here, so we can search in this panel, or um, for example, we have a people underscore 01 here. So we don't feel to go near it. So we just hit F button, and it will just focus on what we have right now here. And this is the world outliner. Do you have when you place something to the screen, it will be added to the world outliner. These are the next things that I wanted to explain to you.
Hmm.
So um, you have some options to, for example, I just selected this option, right? So I have the ability to move it around, to rotate it, to scale it uh, higher or lower. So I should have the ability, right? And we have the ability to Unreal Engine. So these are the options that we can use to either transfer, to rotate, to scale. But most of the times, I usually don't use these. The key to transfer is just to move it around is just W. So when it's on scale, for example, I just hit W and it moves to the transfer part. And to rotate is E. So W is for move, rotate is E, and scale is R. So these are the hotkeys to do so. And
Oh
we have,
yes.
yeah, and we have the option to use if we want to, for example, move it or scale it, doesn't really matter. We have the option to use the world position or the local position. It's not that different right now, but it can get drastically different at some points.
Okay. Is this world or local connected to a reference in XWZ or Z, as Americans say, um, for moving using coordinates, or is that is there that accuracy of coordinates like coordinate system or not in Unreal Engine?
There's only one accurate thing that I've looked it up, and that's just 1 centimeter is one Unreal unit. So, for example,
Hmm.
there is a place called 000. The location is 000, and
Yeah.
this place is uh, at this location. 1622 in x-axis and 1143 in y-axis, and etc. So what you want to do
Okay.
is, yeah, you have to um, try to be as accurate as possible inside the Revit, and when you want to export and import it inside the Unreal Engine, it wouldn't change the proportions, so there
Yep.
shouldn't be a problem in that whatsoever.
Okay.
So after that, we have some, we've explained the local or world position. So after that, we have the options to use snapping if we want to. So these are accountable for snapping. So this is the snapping for moving the objects around. This is for the rotation. This is for the scale. So if yeah, this snaps every 10 Unreal Engine units. So you can change it as well. So it will snap even further. And
Nice. Okay.
this goes the same for rotation. And if we just uncheck the snapping for rotation, it will. And you have the Control
Mm.
C too to Control Z everything. That's a really nice thing to do. And you have
Okay.
the,
As many
yeah,
as well.
and you have the option to you have the option to snap the scale as well. And one other thing that's worth mentioning in here is that inside the edit editor preferences that I just told you, you have the option to even change these numbers to your preferences. I mean, you're that free to do anything you want inside this engine. And one thing to note that is uh, this engine is free to use, right? And it's
Yes.
actually open source. So if you are a C++ programmer, if you really know what you're doing, you can download the source and you can change the engine however you like. There's no limit in any way whatsoever. Or you can go around and build a plugin for yourself. But these are really complicated stuff. And I mean, these are really some highest level possible technical stuff. And after that, we have the option to change the camera speed. So right now, when you're flying around, our speed is at 4. So let's how different it will be when you use 8.
Oh yes. Okay.
And 1 is like nothing.
Yes. So Morteza, we are not learning C++ in this crash
No,
course.
no, no, we don't do all.
We are really disappointed. We are not gonna build our own app. Okay,
Yeah, C++.
plugin.
Yeah, C++ is like the
It's a
hardest
word.
language.
It's a word.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
And
no,
when
no,
it
that.
comes to Unreal Engine, C++ is going to be like something else. It's like a monster which is changing faces inside Unreal Engine.
Amazing. Let's go on.
So one of the things that I wanted to tell you about the optimization. Let's see. We are far away from the mesh, and if you can see here, there's no shadows in here. There's no shadows being casted. But when we get closer,
Mm-hmm.
there is shadows.
Okay.
So this is how the real
Huh. Okay. How comes?
works. Yeah, exactly. It will just fade away everything that's not visible that much to the screen. So it does.
Okay. This is a self-regulating to save power,
Exactly.
rendering power.
Exactly. Because
Okay.
when you are using V-Ray, no matter how far, for example, a glass is from the camera, it will render it. It doesn't really care if that's so far and it's
Even
not
if
visible.
that's tiny. Okay.
Yeah, and it will consume time, and time is what we have here, right? Okay,
Every human being. Yep.
uh,
Let's go.
so after that, we have the details panel here. If you just don't click on anything, the details panel is just like nothing. There's nothing in it. But you have selected something in the viewport. You will have the details panel here, which contains it just explains it itself. It's the details for the mesh. So we have the location, we have the rotation, we have the scale, and we have the ability to change the location from relative to world.
Mm-hmm.
So you won't be needing this, but in case if you are using
Yeah.
the relative location, remember, I mean, there are some times that we just copy and paste locations and rotations and stuff. Just remember, if you have used the relative location to copy or word location to copy, set the other asset that you want to paste. Just for let me show you this. For example, I've just selected the world location, absolute location. I just
For
right
this
click.
asset, okay,
Yeah,
asset, it's let's say another way to say objects.
it
The
could be
word
yeah, it could be
asset
anything. It
in.
could be a particle, it could be an object, it could be a material, it could be anything really. So in here I've just selected a
Everything.
mesh. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
um I've selected the
okay.
world or absolute location. I right click, copy, and when I wanna paste the location to this mesh here, I have to change the location to world and then paste it. These are two different things. Just remember that one. So we have the mobility here. So mobility is like, so here it gets complicated a little bit. So mobility is like,
Yeah.
as it can explain itself at some point, static mobility can't move no matter what. It's just there. It's as static as it sounds. So if you want to bake the lighting, if you want to not change the lighting or anyhow interact with the object, you just leave it as it is, as static object. Movable, in another words, is movable, so it can move. It can not use baked lighting on it. I mean, it can be using baked lighting, but it will be like, for example, consider it this way: you will bake the lighting on some object, and there's a shadow casting on it, and then that object will move, but the lighting won't move. The lighting will stay there. So you can't really logically you can't use static lighting on a movable object. So movable is just
Mm,
movable. It can move. It can simulate physics. It can do anything that you want. It can be interactive as much as
okay.
possible. And stationary is something in between. It can either use static lighting and movable lighting. So it can the lighting can be baked on stationary,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it can be movable. So it can both have baked lighting and movable lighting, movable shadow maps, which I'm
Mm,
gonna explain it all. This may sound a little bit complicated, but trust me, it's not. I'll explain it all in our next sessions.
brilliant.
Yeah. After that, you have the option to change the static mesh. I mean, it's just a static mesh, so there's no need to change it. But you either way, you have the option to change it, or if you want to, you can double click on it and then go to the details, which I'm gonna explain in some minutes later on. And you have the option to change the materials. These materials are the materials that you have specified in your third-party application. So, for example, if
Okay, Revit.
exactly, yeah, you specify, okay, I want this mesh to have this material, or I want all the meshes to have one material at one time. So this is why you are seeing four materials at this mesh and maybe one material at another mesh. This is specified beforehand.
Mm,
So this is not
mm-hmm.
nothing fancy here. You will have the
And this
physics.
is for the listeners. So this is the job of Datasmith to bring forwards all the materials and meshes directly from Revit. By
Exactly.
By the way, they are useful only for a specific type of material, which are the material that can be reused in Unreal Engine.
Okay, we're gonna get into that in some minutes, but
Oh,
PBR
okay.
materials are physical based materials that Unreal Engine is using. But I'm gonna show you. It's so easy to. I mean, it's not as hard that we use it usually. For Revit users, it's much
Mhm.
easier. So, anyways, the next thing is physics. It's just for simulating physics, which most probably you won't use in architecture visualizations. But I'd encourage you to, if you are interested into it, you go and learn about it.
Mhm.
Just Google search it and learn about it all. It's some incredible stuff in it. And collision, which we're going to be explaining in some minutes, and lighting stuff and rendering. Yeah, in rendering panel, you have the option to let's see, to make the option visible, to make the I'm sorry, the mesh visible or not visible inside the game. If you want it to not visible inside the screen but visible inside the game, you just use this option. Um, or you have the option to have it visible inside the screen, and you maybe at some point you want it to be hidden in game, so you have the option to do so. So there's nothing more
Mhm.
important here. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, so now it's time to use Datasmith. So I will send you. Actually, I have to send you the link to use the Datasmith to export to download the Datasmith exporters.
I believe I have here somewhere. Let me see if I can grab it
Okay,
rapidly.
okay, that's the link that we're gonna use now.
Yeah, okay. Check it out if it's this one. I will put here in the messages. Tell me if it's this. And tell me if you can click it. Show on stream. Yes. Is this the guy?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So
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 I
we
I
have it.
have
You
I
go ahead.
have installed into Revit, and yeah, I could say that it's a piece of cake.
Yeah.
It's not difficult at all. It's not difficult at all, and I will show one moment what happens once exported. I will once downloaded. Sorry. Show my stream. Yes, you can see my stream. So you download basically this guy here, and then once clicked and executed, you will have in the add-in of Revit Datasmith, and Datasmith are really few possibility to export. I'm now starting in Revit 2020. I will, yeah, this is one export. Two, uh, one file and one folder. One file, probably you can explain and be more clearer than me, Morteza. The first file, the general is what is modeling.
Yes, let me show you the screen of mine. Yeah. The
Yeah,
first file is the UD datasmith file. This is the file that Unreal Engine reads, and the other folder is the folder that contains all the
sorry.
data that's needed. Actually, it
Yes,
contains all the meshes. Yeah, exactly. So
these are meshes.
yeah, so if you use the only use the datasmith file, it just wouldn't work. Both of them has to be there.
Okay, okay. So Yeah. Okay. Cool. Um, this. Okay. So I will get back to you. Just one moment. This is the base of the model. I will let the others see. You see, there is it's not in add-in now that I'm seeing. It's Datasmith. It's totally another menu, and now it's loading. Uh, you had a possibility to click on the link that I showed in the live, Morteza.
Yeah, yeah, I
Was it
have.
clickable? Okay, so everybody has. Okay, I will soon give you back the screen. I just want to show. So this is the building that we soon will show Morteza, and let's have a look the base of the building. So basement under. This is the first pavement, and then goes up. Datasmith. Export Datasmith file. Click. You see here I have the second export, my second try, and you always have to select the 3D window in order to export, and it exports only the things that are shown in Revit. Okay, all good. I'll give you back the lead.
Okay, so we're not gonna go into that much depth in this one, but if we want to, we have another link which I already gave you, right? To uh, they just explain more about how you can use Datasmith and how you can use it better, and also maybe you could paste
Mhm.
that link to the chat as well.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's head back into Unreal Engine. Oh, after that, you have the option actually just into the edit, go to plugins, and in here just search Datasmith. So I've already enabled the Datasmith. So
Mhm.
Datasmith importer. So you just
Mhm.
enable it. If it's, I mean, I'm not sure if it's enabled by default or not. If it's not, just enable it, and it will probably ask you to restart the editor somewhere around here, and you just restart the editor, and then you're good to go. And then you will have the option to use the Datasmith importer right from here. So let me see. Yeah. Okay, so let's just do that. Let's just import the file that we have. Okay. So this is the udatasmith file. It has to be with the folder, otherwise it will give you some errors that are just
Mhm. Okay.
that they don't mean anything else. They just mean that this folder doesn't exist. So it's right now it's just asking you where to put the file. I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe first of all I want to just new folder. This is the content. This is the all the. It's like a file manager for us. We can go around. We can just see things. It's just a file manager. So right click and you can
Mhm.
just create a new folder. Call it so meshes. So let's import it again. Let's head over to this folder. Hit OK. So we want the geometry. It's just right now it's asking us which files you want to import. So we want the geometry, we want the materials and textures for sure, and we want the lights. We don't want any cameras since we are using another camera. Uh,
Mhm.
we don't. I believe we don't have any animations in the file. So
No, so you flagged the lights. Wouldn't expect that.
uh,
Okay, you
it's already flagged by default since this is
okay.
an architecture project.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right.
And in the advanced options, you have the option to set the light map resolution, min and max light map resolutions.
Mm.
Uh, the higher the better, but these are really complicated stuff, and I'll explain them in our next session. I
So
guess,
let's for the
yeah,
moment accept the defaults. What's your suggestion?
yeah, exactly. Let's import them.
Oh,
So we'll just have to wait, I guess. So it's just imported it all. So right now we're having all the, let me see. Right now we only want this. So we don't want this. Just click on it and hit delete. Click on that and hit delete. So this is our world right now. Okay.
mm-hmm.
This is what we have. This is what we've exported. This is all the materials, all the meshes that we've exported from the Revit
Yeah.
using the Datasmith. And I would say it's really good looking because uh, and it's getting really better. I wouldn't really expect it to be that good. Um, okay,
It's
so
getting better. You mean the release, the 4.27.2?
no, in the older times, Datasmith was a lifesaver at that time because we would use FVX files, and FVX files is like the usual file extension that we use, and it doesn't contain the second lightmap UV channels that we need. We had to create them by our hand. Not most of the times our hand, but CPUs weren't that powerful too, so it will be like a consuming process to do. So this Datasmith doesn't require all of that, so it's like a lifesaver, and it
Mm.
just transfers all the materials. It gives you a lot of great options. It's like it will make your life really comfortable. So I liked it. It's really good. So after that, let me see. So right now, when we imported the whole mesh, the whole Datasmith file, it's time to go into it to see what's in it. So if you just click on them, these are just meshes, just static meshes. But some of them are like, let me see. Yeah, some of them are like something that's called an actor, which is not any different in this case. So if we just focus on it, yeah, it's here. So you may find some things called actor. It's not any
Mm.
different. The in this case,
Any
the
difference to what? What do you
uh,
mean?
actor is something else. In most of the times, actor is like a
Mm.
general name for something that's, it could be really anything. It's like a collection of things. I'll explain you in a moment. It
Okay.
can get complicated, so I can't really explain it in a simple way. But um, this is just a static mesh actor, and this is called an actor. In this case, there's no difference between them. That's all I'm saying. So let's head over to one of these actors. So if we just click on one of them, we have the option to double click and open the static
Mm.
mesh itself. So let's see.
Static mesh.
Yes,
Did you
static
say
mesh.
so? Static
Like,
mesh. Okay.
oh, okay. So here's our details panel in here, and we have the regular options for moving the camera, for snapping and all, and we have the other options here. There are some other options as well where you can go ahead and control for yourself. You can check a lot of other things. You can just go around and look. Oh, the UV channel is really bad in here. I don't know why, but the most important thing in this case, which you don't really need to know, but is the UV channel one, which is for lighting.
Okay.
Uh,
What it is all these triangles? The element unpacked exploded into surfaces.
uh,
Seems kind of so. What it
it's
is?
it's what we call, I mean, it's called in 3D, in all 3D application, is it's called UV mappings. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like when you just pack the whole 3D object. It's like you just expand the whole 3D object and you
Mm-hmm.
just have it
Planar,
on the
make it
surface.
on the plane.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Okay.
any different. So the 3D programs use this to texture it, to make some materials for it, um, and to light it up, to bake the whole lighting into it. And there are a lot of, actually, it can get a little bit out of the topic, and but there are a lot of tools out there. For example, in Blender, you don't have to manually try to make the whole thing in Photoshop or something. You can just draw it by your hand, and then the application will do the rest. It's so easy in that regard.
Mm.
uh, I would encourage you to go for yourself and see what's in there. I'm just going to show you the essentials here, because these things can get really complicated. So after that, the next thing that I wanted to show you is LODs. So LOD stands for
Mm.
level of details. Uh, it has one use only, and that's saving performance. You can,
Okay.
yeah, you can definitely not know about it, and in the ArcViz industry, you can get away with it. It's not a big deal. But anyways, I'm gonna explain it to you, and if you
Yeah.
want, you
In the
can.
BIM, it's the same, but it's used for uh, how to say, it's the first wagon of the train, and then comes this after of the VR. So if you haven't had a very high level of detail in BIM, you will not have a very high level of detail on ArcViz. And then it comes then in ArcViz this saving time. But if you haven't had the will to be very detailed, it means then contracts that costs more,
Mm.
you will for sure not have anything so much detail to downsize in ArcViz. But please continue, because the the concept in ArcViz, it's has even another connotation than in BIM.
Okay, so it can get a little bit into the 3D stuff. So you will have to know a little bit about the 3D applications. But anyways, I'm gonna explain them all. So first of all, if you just look here, there are this amount of triangles or this amount of vertices, um, which is so good, so good. It's really optimized. But the problem is that there's not only one of this mesh here. There are a lot of meshes with this amount of vertices here. So
Mhm.
it will cost us a lot. And the problem gets even worse when you go a little bit far, and the performance gets worse, because these are being this costly and they just added up together. So it will be like a collection of high costly meshes that are just added up
Mhm.
together. So we have a solution for it in Unreal Engine. um, it's called level of detail. So how we can do it is just go to the LOD settings. Let me just
Mhm.
yeah, for default it doesn't have any settings at all. You have the option to come here to LOD group and use level architecture, and hit yes, and it will, by default, it will set some things for you. So it will, I would say this is pretty good for you. This makes sure that you have the best quality and highest possible rendering efficiency,
Mhm.
I would say. but you can go ahead and tweak it manually a little bit more if you want to, and I'm going to show you how to do so. So you can, there's an option to auto compute all these distances. You can uncheck it, and you have the option to change the number of LODs. You can change it as well. I would say that this is pretty good, but if you want it to be lower, you can go ahead and you have the option to go as far as 8, and then you will be applying changes. And after that, you have something called screen size here. So this is showing you that uh, it explains it to you if you pay attention to it. Right now, we're at 0. 0.5. If we get closer, it will go higher. If you get closer, it will go higher. If we get closer, higher, higher. If we get more far from the object, it will get lower, lower, lower. So it means that the lower you go, the less screen size, and the closer you go, the higher screen size you will be having. So
Hmm.
this is what we're gonna use here to specify which LOD in which screen size. So uh, when we are at LOD
Is
0,
this, Murtaza, is this kind of standardizing the reaction of the software towards one specific object?
uh,
It's,
the, it
it's
will.
kind of automatize.
Okay, the option to automatize it is to use one of these to large props, yes, and then everything will be automated.
Hmm.
So if we just go back, 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 this is all automated, and we have a lot of other options here. We have the deco, foliage, high detail, and a lot of other options that you are seeing
Oh,
here.
foliage. I like it. Okay. In the case that you are doing now manually, instead you are deciding the
Ex-
parameters
Exactly.
directly yourself. Is this function just for this handrail, or is this will be able to do all the family? Revit, how it works with the
So
families.
so if you see here, there are a lot of meshes here, but they're all using the same mesh. They're all using the same mesh. So what we're
Mm.
changing is this mesh here, the source mesh. So any asset that's using this mesh will be changed accordingly. And
Mm.
if we are using another mesh for any other asset, we have to correct that asset manually as well. And I believe we have the option to bulk edit as well. I can't remember if that was for, yeah, we have the option to change the, okay, no, we don't have that. Let me see. I guess we set actions bulk. No, we just have the bulk export here.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we could do that. Oh yeah, we have it. Yeah, this is what we have. Okay, so if you just want to, I mean, I'm not suggesting you to do so. I would never do that
Okay.
because it may change the look of the project. I'd suggest you to go one by one and check them accordingly, because the quality matters and the performance. Actually, performance matters less, the quality matters most. So I'd suggest, if you
Mm.
want to do so, go and do them one by one. But if you want to just bulk edit them, you can just click on one of them and uh, I mean, it can be,
Draw.
yeah, hold shift and then click the
Yeah.
last one, right click, and asset actions, bulk edit
Mm.
via property matrix. And in here, you have the option to choose between the you can actually select them all, and you have the option to choose between uh, which LOD group that you want. So you just will go
Mm.
and type level architecture in here, and you'll be good to go.
And let's talk about architecture. If I know that um, my visualization is gonna be at floor 1, and I have floor 2, 3, 4. Uh, how can I select the handrail of floor 4? Because I say, okay, this bunch of I don't want to have that good LOD. Let's downsize all them, but by floors. Is there any way or any workaround to do so, to
Yes. So,
select them only?
so you will be having to rename floor 4 3 to floor 4 5 6,
Yeah.
them, and name them something differently, so you know that these aren't important,
Mm.
because at the end of the day you will have to do it manually.
Oh, not nice. Is there any system of folders where I can select maybe in a kind of elevation all the thing and then bring drag and drop in a folder that I can call it floor 4, for example? First of all, are there in Unreal Engine the visualization that is parallel to the face, to the vertical face? So an elevate, call it in a architecture elevation. So it's a projection plane where your camera is not tilted, so is parallel to the facade of the building. So you
Like,
see it in a kind of 2D. You see the building in 2D in front of you, and it's very easy to select one floor, stripe out just one floor. Is
it's like when you when this actor is here, when you rotate it around, it will always face you, right?
Yes, it's a kind of a parallel projection instead of perspective projection. If you
This
bring, yeah,
Yeah, these will be some other actors that we'll be going to explain in our next session, I guess. Let me see.
okay, okay, okay.
Mm, yes, these will be the very tiny details that we're going to explain. But about that floor, that the higher floors that you told me, you will have the option to do you have the option to merge them all, to have them all together, have all the meshes at and process them at one mesh in Revit?
Actually, you can even export in Datasmith as different files, different levels.
So it's not like that you had all the rails separately in Revit. Those were all
Yeah,
merged.
yeah. I mean, all the rails are part of a family. Then there is a family type, but
Okay, so we can do something here. We can do something. If you don't have the option in Revit, we have the option to merge all the actors in inside the Unreal Engine. So what we're going to do here to merge them all is that I'm not going to show you how to select them completely, but you have the option to, for example, you want this rail
yeah,
and this rail, and for example, this rail to be merged together,
yeah,
right? So you
yeah,
just
yeah.
select them holding control and then right click, and you have the option to merge actors, and you
Okay,
just merge. You just go to the folder, and then you just type something, some name. I'd always go with the default name, so I know that it's a merge actor. Hit save. So in that merged actor, in that new actor, you have the option to double click on it, and as you can see, it's got very high. So right now we have the option to um, we have a reduction settings here under LOD 0. We have a reduction settings. You can choose something like 20 settings to see how it will look.
hmm,
Yeah, I would say it's much better. So this is what we have right now. We've come from 30,000 to something like 4,000, which is kind of
okay.
good.
1/5. Okay.
And then hit save, and then you're good to go. This is the option that you're gonna have if you want to get rid of all the extra details that will be coming your way. Um,
Yes.
and after that, let me see. Collisions. Okay. So let's use this one. This is actually a pretty cool model. Um, okay, so you have the option to pick some slot to pick some materials for yourself. In here, when you've what I just did is just I double click on the static mesh, and then I came here to the material slot. So I have the option to either change the material if I want to, or I can just double click on it and it will into another page, which in this case, I
Hmm?
would say that it is so close to Autodesk applications. So in here,
Mm.
you have the option to set a diffuse color if you want to.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can change the diffuse color. If you want to, you can pick up a diffuse map, which is a texture. What?
Mm.
Okay, which is
Okay.
a texture. If you want to, you can just uh, you have two options to just select the texture that you want from here, or just as I've shown you, you can just go out. For example, I can tell that I want this texture, and then I can click on it, and then I can come back and use this
Hmm.
arrow here to tell the engine that I want this texture to be used. You have the option to use a lot of options that Epic Games actually have provided for Revit users. So if you just go to the parent, this is what we call material instance. I'm going to show you in one sec. Just bear with me right now. So this is the material instance. It's not the material itself. It's an instance that's copied, that's duplicated from the material itself. The parent material, however, is this one. If we just if we see, it's really
Incest. You said incest.
instance.
The
What's
f-
that?
yeah. Can you type it? Maybe I didn't grasp correctly.
Oh,
Can you
instance. Yeah, material instance. Yeah, I can type it.
instance. Okay, okay, okay. And this is the material.
This is the parent material, which is really complicated. I mean, no one will understand this other than the guy who's created this. I mean, I doubt that he can understand it as well. This is that complicated, so no worries at all. So I'm just telling you that the Epic Games has created this material for you to use. So I'm just gonna
Mhm.
explain them all, and then no worries at all. So glossiness is, I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
It's called roughness in Unreal Engine, which is not important for you. So you can use glossiness. You can use all kind of uh, different
Yeah.
metallic
We,
options.
we, we can tell this to the listeners. Glossiness or roughness, it's the two end of the spectrum. If you have very little, how to say, um,
We can show it.
reflection on the material, it's a very rough material with many impurity on the surface. If the material is very polished, then it's very glossy, so you will have some flares on the surface,
Exactly.
so um, a mirror like.
Exactly. So right now for the let's see. Okay, for to make it a little bit more easy, let's create a material together. So in the content
Yeah.
browser, this is what we call content browser. Right click and then hit material. Let's call it ease. So double click on it, and this is what we have here. We have a base color.
Oh.
So You will have to, if you want to use this material, you will have to know some nodes. These are really easy to remember. Just right click, wherever you right click, you will have this fancy option of,
Hmm.
I mean,
This
there
is
are a lot of, yeah, libraries, material libraries in Unreal Engine. You don't need to know a lot of
mm.
them.
It's
So just
very similar to Dynamo visual programming. So right click and you have all the grammar, and you need
exact
to find which part of the grammar to use and
exactly.
then match.
So
So
COS.
another question. Sorry, all this, for example, we saw before glossiness. You give here in visual programming the possibility to have glossiness, and then you insert in the editor the amount of glossiness. But if you don't program this way, you will not never have glossiness.
No,
Is
this
it
is
so,
just
or how's it works?
no, this is just to explain the listeners what is glossiness and what is specular and what is metallic and what are the differences, because
Okay.
they have all the options here. So we have a glossiness here, and we have the option to use the glossiness however we want, as you can see here. So we don't need to code anything. We don't need to use any complicated nodes. It's just uh, I just wanted to create this to explain it a little bit. If someone wants to get a little bit in depth into it. So
Mm.
this is a glossiness. Um, okay, let's talk on this, and then we can move forward on that one.
Okay.
Okay, so if you use the diffuse map, you will have the option to offset it as well. I'm not sure if you have the option to offset the texture in Revit or scale it down, scale it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so these are similar, pretty much similar, and this is the angle. Yeah, these are just explaining themselves. And this is the transparency. If you want a transparency, you can have a transparency map. You can to use them, just check them if you want to use them. If you don't want to use them, just uncheck them. If you want
Mhm.
to use a transparency map, just check it, and then you have the option. Actually, this is not the transparency map. We'll need to have a transparency texture to be able to use the
Mhm.
transparency. So
Okay.
or refraction index. This is not a glass. We can show you the refraction index here. So refraction is this. I'm sure you are all familiar with it, but I would suggest to go and explore them all for yourself, to explore them with
Mm.
different materials, with different textures, because there's a huge amount of possibilities with when it comes to the materials in Unreal Engine, and when it comes to this material that the Epic Games has created for Revit users. I mean, this is really good. Okay, anyways,
Materials for Revit users.
exactly. Yeah. This is just, they've hard coded it. It's not inside the engine. This is just for Revit users.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and you have a lot of other options, and I'm not gonna explain them all. This is
Okay.
mostly you have to explore them for yourself. So self illumination, this isn't how we call it in Unreal Engine, but I see why they've named it this way, because it's for Revit users, as I told you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. So after that, I wanted to show you this. So if we come here to the material that we've just created, right click, CON, we have some constants, constant 2 vector, constant 3 vector, and 4 vector. Uh, constant itself is just a value between 0 and whatever you like. Actually can be negative as well. But it's just a value. Uh, if I show you what, let's see. So this is constant zero is it's only containing one value. Actually, was it constant one? Oh yeah, sorry, constant one. It means that it just contains one value. Constant two contains two values, three values, four values. So
Mm.
what are the values? In this case, in three values are RGB. So it changes the color in the color spectrum.
Oh yes.
So if you just hook it up to the base color, it will change the material to a red material. So you have the option.
Hmm.
Um, so this is the constant one. We can have it hooked up to the metallic as well. This means zero means that there's no metallic at all. So one means that all metallic.
Mm, okay. 0 1 method. Very well. Yeah. And that's
And
a slider. Okay.
yeah, so if you want to cut this note here, you can hold Alt and click. If you want to attach this node instead of this one to this one to or any other node, you can hold Control and
Hmm.
hold left click and then attach it to another node and see what happens. This is the specular.
Okay.
Yeah, and we
Yep.
have roughness. And we have the emissive color. I'm just gonna go into the most important ones. Emissive color is like it can be like a light. So if I just,
Light color. Light color.
yeah,
Oh wow. Hmm.
it can get really, really illuminative. So normal is just a bump map. So we need to use a texture for it. Most of the times, the normal or bump textures are blue. I mean, all the time they are blue. We have the world position
Yes.
offset.
Exactly.
So the only time that I've seen this node being used, I mean, these are really complicated stuff. You don't need to
Can
understand
skip.
that well,
Can
but
skip by now.
yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So nothing important here. There are actually a lot of complicated stuff. So after that, we'll be going to collision. So let's see. Before going to
Mm.
collision, I have to explain something here. Let me just, because I've seen that there are some notes here before. Sequence. Let me just fix this one. Let's see. Okay. So we have some options in here. I haven't explained you these options because
Yeah.
I wanted to explain some other things and then come to here. So for testing purposes, you have the option to save current. It means that for game developing, most of the times you will be having a lot of levels and you will be having a level streaming service. So a lot will be going on. Save current means I want to only save this level instead of 100 levels. But in this case, we are only having one level, so it really doesn't matter.
What do you
And
mean for levels? What's the concept of levels in Unreal
when the
Engine?
yeah, when the world gets really big, I mean massively big, you will have to divide it by smaller chunks. Like we're talking about massive games. Like I'm not sure if you're familiar with games, but
Mm.
there are games
Very
that are,
little.
yeah, that are like 100 kilometers square.
I've heard of the massive modulation of Matrix Reloaded, possibly it's the name Reloaded.
Uh,
Not sure metric what, but they have modeled a lot of this Gotham City, not the Gotham City, sorry, of that Los Angeles. Not mixing Batman, the poor Matrix. So Los Angeles, they have modeled something very extended. So it's as like in Photoshop, it's a way of grouping these levels. It's just folders some way.
uh it's like, when the player is inside a level, all other levels are not in the memory, they don't exist.
Okay, okay, it's like loaded, unloaded. So then
Exactly.
level is cleared. They forget the level 0, they go to 1. Level 0 is forgotten. Level 2 is not loaded yet. Level 1 is there.
Exactly.
Oh yes. If I make an example with a skyscraper, uh, if I wanna see the rest of the skyscraper, but I don't want to walk in it, may I put the rest of skyscraper in another level, or how it works in
Yeah, we can. Yeah,
optimization wise?
we can do that, and the way to do that is just go to file, and we can apply a new level, and then we have to save it somewhere.
Mm,
It's
possibly
just as,
though.
it's
Okay,
just as easy as creating something new.
okay.
But we will have to hard code it. We will have to code uh, to tell the engine where to go into that level, and when to go into the other level, or where, or at what.
For example, can it be an elevator or an
Exactly.
escalator? This.
Everything.
Okay, okay, and then it's
For
very
me-
clear for our listeners then.
Hmm. So it's just depend. We can specify where and when and how the level can be loaded, and when the other level can be unloaded.
Brilliant.
Okay, so in the file we have the objects to save current, or most of the times I just use save all,
Mm-hmm.
Control Shift S, which can save everything that you have, or Control S is like the save current. Source
Mm-hmm.
control is not for architecture most of the times. We have the mods here. So this is where we can change the engine entirely, change the user interface. So we can build a new landscape if we want to. We have the option to change from mods, because the default mod is select mod, because we can change. Oh, actually, it's actually compiling shaders. So you will see this a lot. It's when you touch something, it compiles shaders. So nothing new. Um, so landscape is just to create a landscape. Let's let it compile shaders. It may crash.
Okay. Was it this compiling shaders? Is it calculating the sun onto the surfaces or
It's
what?
most of the times it's compiling materials and they're rendering settings. It's mostly the visual stuff. I mean, it's compiling shaders. Shaders is just the visual stuff, the way the material and the rendering stuff react to each other,
Oh
and the
yes.
lighting stuff. Yeah. So if we want to create a new material, create a new landscape, we have the option to come to landscape mode.
Hmm.
Um,
Is
and
this a kind of level for in some or kind of layer? Let's call it layer.
a
These are
layer,
landscape
like a mesh, like another mesh, we can add it, and then we can, let's just add it for,
switch off.
yeah. We have a lot of options. We have the locations set to make sure everything's correct. We have the option to make it smaller, to make it bigger, to
Hmm.
um
Because Morteza, you need to know we have had an how to do step by step guide on extracting Google Earth meshes, and one of my thoughts is using this method to import the part I need of Rio de Janeiro there, and Google has also this of detailing. So they use this infrared cameras on the cars to map Google Maps, Google Earth. And the closer you are, the more automatically detailed you are, and then the farther, the less.
Hmm.
And so I would like to have this peninsula where this building is, and using this system through Blender to import Google Maps and having it on the landscape layer. Is that something that you think it's possible for an extension of
Definitely.
uh, not city wise, but I would like to have like 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers of ray around.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, there are two options that suddenly comes to my mind when we come to such a problem. One is to use the Unreal Engine Marketplace. There are tons of plugins for such things. I've seen,
Oh, really?
yeah, I've seen even the plugins that I've never thought they would someday exist, you know. This is the option one that I'm sure something exists. The option two is just export the whole mesh from Google Maps and then import it maybe into some other application and then cut that, divide the whole city, because at the end of the day we will have to cut it to use the LODs, the thing that you told me to uh,
Mhm.
have them with less details while there are in distant views,
Mm,
and then exporting them back to Unreal Engine. So these are the two options, but I
okay.
would think that the first option is so feasible. I would say that that's definitely
More straightforward. Okay.
exactly. We'll
Okay.
right now we're just explaining the basics in this session. So
No, okay. And we'll take in another moment.
exactly. So let's just create a landscape here. I mean, these are really in-depth um, things to explain, but we just explaining them. So when you created your landscape, then you will have the option to sculpt or smooth or flatten or pretty much anything you want.
Mm.
You can even use height maps to um, create the landscape. I'm just right now I'm just trying to give some keywords to for the listeners if they want
Mm.
to search for anything. Just search landscapes in Unreal Engine 4 or height maps, using height maps to create landscapes, because these are really in depth and they really need in depth tutorials to explain it. I remember Epic Games has been explaining it for like 3 hours and they can't explain it all because there are just a lot of details into it. So you
Mm.
have the options to do a lot of things, as you can
Oh,
see.
wow. Look at this.
Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of options. So just smooth them out, or just I don't know, maybe make a ramp from it.
What is that?
It will make a ramp.
Ramp.
Yeah, and it can
Okay.
add a ramp. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. It's gonna two mountains and a
yeah,
ramp. Okay.
there are
So, wow. Okay.
there are some tools in here to create your targets landscape. So we're not gonna go into that. So, but the way you can use this landscape is just like a mesh. You can select it and you can delete it if you don't want it. So
Mm.
in this case, we'll let it be here.
Can you have more meshes in one landscape, like the imported on, or let's say I imported one of Google Earth. I want to remodel the terrain around the building. Is there any possibility to remodel what I have from Google Earth?
Not in. I would say that don't do
Mm-mm.
it in Unreal Engine. If it's a
Mm.
mesh, if it's this is Datasmith. We're not talking about Datasmith. If
No, 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 no.
yeah, exactly. Then it should be updated. It should be touched in another application, not in Unreal Engine, because I
Mm.
wouldn't say that Unreal Engine is a modeling application. It's not. You can find some plugins for it to use it as a modeling application, but the fact is, it's a game engine. It's not a modeling application. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Gotcha. Let's go
Yeah.
forward.
So actually, there is a brush editing. Brush editing means that you have the option to create your own models to actually edit the brushes. I'm not gonna get into it because, as I told you, I think that you won't even be needing it. And you have the option to change the modeling as well or mesh painting, but we're not gonna go into them. Um,
Yes.
Let me see. Foliage. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is foliage, but before that, we have to do something here. So I told you about, let's see, about the Epic Games launcher.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Epic Games launcher.
Yeah.
So when you go into the marketplace, there are like millions of assets, including lots of plugins. Let's just go to the marketplace. This is the place where you can search, or you have the option
Yeah.
to see lots of
Menus. Hmm.
things. Yeah, uh, there are even lots of free assets, lots of great free assets. Like for there are lots of free landscape foliages, trees, bushes, lots of great assets. I actually I tested this one out, and it's a whole city. It's like a very big city compacted into one project. This is everything is so great. So I'd encourage you to go explore them for yourself. What I wanted to
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
What I wanted to search with you was, let's search Google Maps to see what we can find. Yeah, we have the plugin to Google Map View. And this is what I wanted to show you. Some of them are engine plugins. It means that we are using 4.27. So
Yeah.
if you're using Unreal Engine 5, you don't have the option to
Mm.
use this phone, or to buy this phone to, or maybe you are using an older version. This is it. This is the version that you are going to be using. There are some other options if you can just find. Sometimes they just put the source code into the GitHub. You may be able to download it from GitHub, but that's like another level of programming and being a developer. So I wouldn't encourage you to
Mm.
do that unless you know what you're doing, because you
Okay.
have to build it all with Visual Studio, and it contains a lot of coding.
What's that currency there? Just to have an idea. It's not
Uh,
USD.
no, it's TL, it's Turkish lira. Turkish lira, they
Okay.
call it.
Okay. And this how much is in dollars? Just for the listener, have an idea
Mm, I
roughly.
guess it must be 60, $70.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So what I wanted to else to show you, yeah, this is it. If you want to use any trees, any bushes, any grass,
Landscape. Hmm.
yeah, just come here to the free permanently free collection. There are a lot of assets. Just download one of them. I just let's just I
Mm.
don't know what. Oh, this one is pretty good. So we can just add this to a project. Let's add this one to our project.
Hmm.
Um, let's add it to, which one was it? Concept network. Okay.
Hmm. And
So
this, for example, was totally free. There was nothing about price, so it was free.
now, and it's supporting five Unreal Engine 5 as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if you go to the Unreal Engine, you'll see that it's added here. So let's see, which one was it? This is the bushes, meshes, props. Yeah, these are the assets that we've just downloaded. I
Hmm.
mean, we did nothing. We didn't export or import.
Hmm. It's
Wait,
already there.
yeah, wait, but there,
Whoops.
there's no material in here. Oh yeah, it's here. It's loaded. It was just compiling shaders.
Is that only a branch or a series of branches? It's not the
Yeah,
whole tree.
yeah. No, it's not a tree. These are just let me see. Props. Yeah, these are just bushes that I've downloaded. There are some branches as well.
Okay.
So okay.
And these also are subject to LOD.
The thing is, they have their own LOD set up, and I'll show you. We'll be using foliage mode. Let's let this one
Hmm.
freeze, and then after that we'll go to mode foliages, and then after that I
Hmm.
guess it will compile some more shaders. No, it didn't. So what we're gonna do here, we've come to the foliage. Then we just drag what we want here, and then after that we have the option. If it's checked, it means that it's going to yeah, let's wait a little bit longer. So if it's
Compiling shaders.
yeah, exactly, it's compiling. So if it's checked, it means that it will be we have to draw it on the screen. If it's checked, it means that it will be drawn. If it's unchecked, it means that it won't be drawn. So let's check it because we want to draw it to the screen, right? So let's see.
Okay.
So these are like a lot of trees.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay. So you were just holding the left
left mouse button,
button of
exactly.
the
Not
mouse,
nothing
and
else.
you're like painting with the mouse,
Exactly. I'm
dropping
just
them.
exactly. It's as easy as
Oh wow! Because oh yes, because this yeah, and this selector, which is a kind of sphere that is lighter, can you have this brush a little bit
yeah. We have the
smaller?
options.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking
these are,
about the bulk.
yeah. Go ahead. Um, so the
So
size of the brush could be changed by this size here. So this will be like
oh yes, so you can go also more in detail.
yeah.
And where do you brush with this? So if I want to brush on the first level balcony, for example, and with a very detailed brush, how can I do it?
So you can change the size like let me just
Nice. Okay,
there,
now the size is correct.
yeah, there are some other factors as well. We have the density. If we just lower the density, there will be less um
Brilliant.
bushes. If we just higher the density, there will be a lot more. um and we have the
Mm.
filter here. So if we just uncheck the static mesh and BSP, we just only have the option to draw on the landscape, which is most of the times we do only draw on landscapes. We don't draw on static meshes most of the
Ah,
time.
okay.
So right now you're thinking that it's just only it's drawing on the landscape, but because we're having landscape beneath our static mesh, you can see it this way, which is not correct.
Mm,
Yeah, this is one
mm,
of the problems that you will have to fix. By maybe you can move the whole Datasmith file a little bit higher. Maybe that would solve the problem. But anyways, let's just turn this on and turn off the landscape because we don't want to draw on the landscape for now. So um, and after that, when we come here, we can select the options. When we have lots of foliages here, we will have the ability
mm,
to draw a complete jungle, and we are not limited to only use trees or grasses or something like that for foliages. We can use even chairs. The engine doesn't care what we use. It's just a
mm.
design part of the software that we are going to use.
Is this like little uh, amount of trees that you have now drawn an incredible, crazy number of polygons?
Yeah,
Or is that optimized in some way?
no, it's
This,
an incredible, crazy amount of polygons that you're seeing here.
yeah, so this is very nice, but then you lose the control very easy.
Yeah, if you feel like a little bit, I mean, you have the option to right now, if you just hit this option, show FPS, yeah, I would say that it's pretty bad right now. It should be
Mm,
around 60, something like that. Let's go to the select mode. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Because we're having a video call here, that might be it as well.
oh,
Um,
what is it, 60? 60 what?
60 FPS frames per second, a frame every
Okay, okay.
picture.
Yeah,
Uh,
frame per second. Okay.
so
And
let's.
why is this moving frame per second?
Uh, it's it's the amount that the GPU is right now able to process. This is what the GPU is giving us. It's not like a line all the time. It's like this all the
Mm,
time. It's so frequent, and you see right now it's at 35, something like that, and then it goes up to even 40 at some cases.
okay. So
Or
I know from cinema it's 20 the minimum. 24 cinema it's 24 I believe, if
yeah,
I'm
in
not
games,
wrong.
yeah, it can get up to 120 frames per second
Yeah, and you have problems. So the GPU is not able to process all the polygons there.
right now, what I believe is that most of the GPU's power is going because of the video call that we have, video streaming that we are having right now. So
Okay.
yeah, it's not that much of a problem. So
Okay.
anyways, we have the when you click on the asset here, you have the option to control the density here as well. And radius means that in, for example, in 50 Unreal units, I want 100 trees to be there. So this is it. So if we say in 500, it will be less trees, because
50 we are talking about 5 meters.
uh,
50, 500
500 is 5
cent.
meters. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's radius or is it diameter?
it's radius.
Radius, so 10 meters. Okay, 10 meters sphere
Yeah, exactly. So we have the
circle.
Z offset because we will be having to randomize these things a little bit. It is just so perfect. In the real world, nothing's perfect. So we have the option to unperfect things. Um,
Oh, okay, randomize. Okay, brilliant.
exactly. So, where was it?
Hmm.
Okay,
Uh,
so
I ha- I have
this
the
is
feeling that when we will start giving the step forwards, we will have one specific focus only on foliages and how to handle this incredible amount of foliages on different levels, because it's a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, and all the concept there is based on that. So what do we what do we want to do exactly is we should just really briefly um, um, the concept is very near something like that. um, Let me show on my stream. uh, okay, I will show it here. Show on stream. So want to have something like that. Imagine then on the concept is near, so in the balconies will be green balconies. This is a lot and at different level, and optimize so that possibly the last level here up in here is not that detailed because you will not perceive that, and kind of a gradient where the more you go up the less it's detailed. So this is our challenge.
Exactly, and it all goes into the LODs that I just shown you. Let's
Okay.
go. Yeah, let's go to the LODs once again. So you can right now you can have it gone up to 8 and apply changes. So
Mm.
and you can set them manually. This is what I wanted to tell you. So if you are at LOD 0, it means that at what screen size it needs to go to the higher LOD, which in this case there's no higher LOD. So I just set this one to 100. So this means that at what screen size it goes to LOD 0. So I would say that this is pretty detailed, so I don't need the LOD 0, but it's just a preference of what you imagine would be good for your project. So it's not,
Okay.
yeah.
And
So I
here
would say
you don't have shadow projection.
no, 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 you
Okay.
don't have any shadow projection right now. So I would say that I'm gonna use LOD for the nearest possible screen size. So after that, I'd say that I want it to start from here. So we are right now we are at 0.13. So this is what I'm gonna type here, and 0.13.
Okay. So automatically at 0.13,
Yeah, this is what I
the
told the engine to go to.
simplify at this level.
Yeah, exactly. Go right now. It's at.
Mm.
We can even go for further. Yes.
But this is not unit in centimeters 0.13. What it
Oh,
is?
this is the screen size. This is the thing that I just explained like an hour ago, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. It's late in the evening here.
It's like, yeah, I know it's
Okay, total screen. You have the full up, and then less of the screen.
so
Oh,
if you get close to it, the number will go up. If you get far, the number
mhm.
will decrease. So
Yeah, but the
that's what
max is not one. The unity. It's a bit more than one, or is
it's
it one?
it
No,
depends. Yeah,
it
it
depends.
depends
It's
on
even 18. Okay.
sometimes it can go up to maybe 40, 50. It
Mm.
depends on how big the object could be. But anyways, so
Okay.
right now I just told the engine that I don't need the LOD 0, so start at LOD 1, and then after in this distance it will just transfer to LOD 5, which is this amount. And you can actually see it in here. So if I just go into this mode, when you go back, I can't show it like this. Let me see. So this is the distance that they're changing LODs. This
Mm-hmm.
is the
Okay,
LOD that I set it for
gotcha.
far, and this is the close LOD. This is how the engine works.
This is modality mesh LOD, and what more? I cannot read in the detail. Sorry.
Level of detail, coloration, mesh LOD
Okay,
coloration.
mesh
These are
LOD coloration. Yes.
these are, as I told you, just for optimization purposes, just for debugging. Okay,
Mm.
so what we wanted to go into the randomizing the scale. So right now
Yeah.
everything's set as 1, and we can just go up to maybe 5. I don't know. Then let's see what happens. Let's zero this out. So that's too much. It's still too much. So um, let's see.
While you test, I can say that there is no such instrument that flexible and then straightforward and with this quality on Revit in the moment.
Yeah, Unreal Engine is like wonderful. It's like a king in real-time rendering.
So I would say that in my experience, this is the way to go for landscaping, landscapers. So in architecture there are a number of specialities nowadays. One it's landscape architects and architecture, and this is the way. Problem is there is no possibility then to cut into planes to look in plan one, plan level one, level two, level three. This is just in 3D visualization that you can have them.
Yeah, if you want to create such thing, you have to hard code it yourself. You have to create the application. For example, consider this way: you have to create the Revit inside Unreal Engine.
Something like that. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. And can you do theoretically this with this visual programming platform that you have inside? Like we were going to before to buy one plugin for in marketplace for Google Earth, and I saw it was made with boxes and connections, so nodes,
Mhm.
and it seemed to be um, visual programming. Would it be possible to create levels and plans with this without going into C++? I mean,
Yeah, yes. You know, visual scripting is like when you know visual scripting, you know everything you need. You don't need to know C++ at all. C++ is for the people who are wanting to change the engine. They're like in another world. Their job is different, completely different. They are the people who are designing this system for us, who are designing the system that we are using to design some other system for some other people. Do you know what I'm saying?
okay,
So
yeah.
they are more closer to the machine.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay,
We
yeah.
don't, yeah, we don't need to use C++ at all. Node programming is all we need. It's actually more than enough.
Okay, and another last question is there. I think we are running next out of time. So we'll take one question. Then, do we have some more topic to bring on the table? Let's
Yes.
do a wrap up.
Yeah, I know. I guess I can sum up everything in 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. One question, repeat question from my side. Is that exportable back to Revit
Um,
or
y-
exportable as a 3D? Let's say not Revit, but like exportable back
it
to one 3D um, modeler.
it is exportable back to, let's just save it first. It is exportable as a 3D object, but let's see, I saw a plugin for exporting Datasmith as well. Let's just control it together. No, there's no option to do such thing. So what we can do is just we can change the model inside the Revit and then export the Datasmith back to Unreal. Or if we want to export the model, for example, you just select this and then go to File, Export Selected, and you will have a lot of options here. And there are a lot of other plugins to add some other extensions as well if you want some other extensions, but there's no extension for Datasmith, unfortunately.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there will be generic 3D model. Okay.
Yeah. And there are actually a lot of 3D model extensions. So what I wanted to, let's see if we have covered it all. Oh, okay. So what other thing that I wanted to tell you about the optimization side of this is to use call distance. So calling is, it's better to just show you. If I set it to 2000 Unreal Unit, it's just, it doesn't even render it on the screen. So if I go forward, it starts to render. If I get
Okay.
far, it just gets it out of the GPU load. So it will just empty the load so it can render some other things. This is the other option that we will have other than what we had before. And one
Is
other
this
option,
distance spherical? So also it works in the height?
exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
another option that, I mean, this can get really technical, but anyways, another option that Unreal Engine itself has, so you don't need to worry about it, is that if you are in this scene, it wouldn't in any case process these because these are just not in the screen. Or if you are just looking in here, this wouldn't process all the information that are in here. So this is why the frame rate is always changing all the time, because it's rendering a lot of different things that are existing in the screen. So one other thing that I wanted to tell you is to download, we have to download the Quixel Bridge. So you can just, let me see.
How it's called again? Can you type it?
Yeah, this
A
is
quick celebrate. Okay. You
quixel.com.
can send in a message so it remains.
Mhm. Yeah, sent it in the messages in YouTube because I don't have access to send messages here.
Okay. Yeah. I'll tell you when else.
So in here, we'll just be going and download the bridge. The bridge is an application.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you. Let me just open it real quick. Okay. So this is the bridge application. Let's let it
Mm-hmm.
load. So this is completely free to use inside Unreal Engine. Even for commercials, it's completely free to use. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
they have some plans, some commercial plans, but um, they will be just charging you if you get any revenue after $1 million or something like that.
Which is brilliant.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the bridge is mostly for meshes and materials. If we want, let's see. Oh, they've changed it. They've upgraded lots of it. So if we just go to the surfaces, these are the materials that we have access to.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the renders from the materials, and I would encourage you to go and search about how to get Quixel Bridge up and running for Unreal Engine, because we're so we're running out of time, so I'm not able to explain it that in depth. But
Yeah.
uh, if we select one of these, we will have this option here. So click on it, export settings. Export target for myself is going to be Unreal Engine version. We are using 4.27.
Mhm.
The plugin location is here as it's telling you. I've already set it. So okay. So we don't want 8K resolution for most of the times. I mean,
Mhm.
you will need a very powerful machine to run such an extreme resolution. So I'm gonna go with something like 2K resolution, and then I'm gonna hit download. Um,
Okay, I see downloading. Can you try to cut and copy
so and
the
uh,
URL in the
uh,
messages?
I copied
Not sure if it is allowed.
right now. I don't have.
Don't see. Okay, I will put in the comments. No, no worries.
Okay. So after that, we'll have the option to export it. If you come here or here, you have the option to export. So hit that. And that then when you go to the Unreal Engine, it will just import all the assets that you've just created, that you've just downloaded. So it's just compiling shaders, and if you go to
Okay,
it, it is just a very incredible assets that you just downloaded. It is a little bit less low quality because I've downloaded the 2K resolution. If you go
2K.
with the 4K, it will get much better. And you can just
This
use
is
it.
just the bark. Okay.
Yeah, you can just go and use it like this. It's yeah, it's like it's a bark for trees, so I shouldn't be using it this way, but this
Mm.
it's as easy as it seems. You just hold and drag and drop it onto the scene or on the mesh
Mhm.
that you want to use. And the yep, that's it for today. Yeah, I was so lucky that I could finish in time.
Very good. I thank you, Morteza. And of course, we suggest to follow our YouTube channel of in LinkedIn, our YouTube channel. Subscribe to follow Khalid Network next appointments for that. We will have this again next Wednesday at 7 to 9 Central European Standard Time. So Paris time, right?
Yes, exactly.
That's the main. Yeah. And we can catch up from here. Maybe we can talk about how to scatter the if there is a possibility to scatter how to scatter the textures in order not to have that football um, uh, football field effect of the grass being always the same rhythmically repeating. If there is some workaround or some
Yeah, let us
think
do
like
it
that.
right now.
But we oh really okay.
Yeah, it's
We do a quick one.
yeah, because it's already made in, because it's for Reddit users, so we have the scale X and scale Y, and offset is X and offset Y. This is what we will be
Yes.
needing, so we can scale them. And another option that we will be having is to uh like what I've shown you in the LOD, we will be have the option to uh, uh, have the textures that are smaller in close to the camera, and have the textures that are larger when they are far to the camera, and
Mhm.
somehow fade them into together. So we can, it can get really complicated, but if you want to, we can teach it in our next session.
Okay, this is brilliant. I think it could help because we have massive green volumes and surfaces. This can help to have to leave this feeling in a correct way. Yes, it's something that would be appreciated. Okay, good evening or night, depending where you are based worldwide, and keep in touch with the Calisod network with Michele Bruno here and Morteza Ahmadi there in Istanbul. Bye for now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. Bye. Have a great night.